This is CNN Breaking News.
There is more breaking news coming into CNN on the investigation of that church massacre in Texas. Just in, we're learning that the gunman actually escaped a mental health facility in June of 2012, months after he was accused of abusing his ex-wife and stepchild. This, according to new documents just obtained from the police department. We're told the officers were advised that he was a danger to himself and to others, and already had been caught sneaking weapons onto a U.S. Air Force base. Democratic Congressman Vicente Gonzalez represents part of the county where the massacre took place. The congressman is joining us now live from Capitol Hill. Congressman, yet another red flag. But despite all of this, and we're learning a lot more horrendous details about this individual, he was able to legally purchase 4 weapons that followed, 2 in the state of Texas, 2 in the state of Colorado. How does that happen?
Well, it's tragic, but obviously a lot of folks dropped the ball from the military, given notice to our National Criminal Registry, and maybe this health institution that he was in. Also, there was no communication with other members of the community. I think, my heart and prayers go out to the good people of Wilson County, but I think now we need to start having a very serious conversation in Washington and in legislatures across the country and getting to the bottom of what the issue is that keeps reoccurring in the United States of America at a much higher level than it does in other developed countries. And I know we come together every time we have an incident like this, but it's not long before the conversation ends and we move on with our lives. And I think this time we need to stay engaged, and we need to find ways to prevent this from being a continuous reoccurrence in the United States. I think that we need to start not only talking about gun control laws, but also mental health issues and communication between potentially mental health officials and gun dealers. I think that should be part of the conversation. There were a lot of gaps in judgment with this young man from the time that he got out of the military to now that he was in a mental health institution, to the events that transpired the last few days. It's just awful, and I think that we need to start paying closer attention and trying to get to the root of the problem of what has infected America.
And as you know, the U.S. Air Force apparently made a major blunder. They acknowledged they did not notify the FBI after he served a year in a military prison for abusing his ex-wife and
that is correct.
Basically hitting this little child repeatedly, causing some serious injury to that child. They didn't deliver a notification to the FBI, and he then went ahead and was able to purchase those guns. The Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms says the shooter's rifle was a semi-automatic. How does that affect the debate over gun control?
Well, I think we need to have an intelligent plan going forward. I'm a gun collector. I'm an avid sportsman. I believe in having the right to bear arms, but I think we need to be smart about it, and we need to be careful about it. And these 50 clips with 50 with capacity of 50 bullets, I think, is a little excessive, and it's something that needs to be looked at. But more than that is the mental health issues that we keep finding in individuals who commit these type of assaults on the American public. And we need to, there should be red flags at every gun dealer when somebody with this profile comes in. I mean, God, he spent a year in jail in the military. He was dishonorably discharged. He had a history of spousal abuse. I believe spousal abuse should be a red flag in gun and purchasing a gun.
Yeah, a lot of people agree with you. Your colleague, Democratic Congressman Ted Lieu of California, he walked out during a moment of silence for the shooting victims. Here's how he explained his actions on his Facebook page. Listen to this.
I've been to too many moments of silences. In just my short career in Congress, 3 of the worst mass shootings in U.S. history have occurred. I will not be silent. What we need is action. We need to pass gun safety legislation now.
Congressman Lieu is calling for a universal background check, a ban on assault-type rifles, a ban on bump-free stocks, as they're called. Is that any of that? And you understand what's going on in the U.S. House of Representatives right now. Is any of that likely to happen?
Well, it's a very divisive time. I don't Oh, you know, I would like to see that happen, but in all honesty, I see we have a lot of folks on the right who may not agree with some of this legislation. But I do believe that we should have very tight background checks. We should, if somebody wants to purchase a gun and they have to wait there's a 30-day waiting period before they're given the gun that they purchased, I think that should be okay with the public. We need to keep the American people safe, and we need to provide this safety through good legislation. It's happened 5 times this year. And it's happened across the country and across state lines and across racial and religious barriers. It happens in the rural communities and happens in urban communities. So we can't define it in any one way, but I think mental health is a top issue that needs to be considered in creating new legislation. Maybe there needs to be communication between mental health officials and law enforcement and gun ownership.
You know, Congressman, in the initial confusion right after we learned of this church massacre, and there's always a lot of confusion in the immediate period after a horrific event like this. You were on CNN. You mentioned a name for a suspect that turned out to be incorrect. Tell our viewers, very unfortunate, but I think all of us have to step back, learn lessons. We want to make sure it doesn't happen again. Explain what happened here and what lessons we can all learn from that, because going forward, unfortunately, this is going to happen again.
Absolutely, and I regret it very much. I was on another national mainstream media interview, and the news producer gave me this name, and I don't follow memes or you know, internet sensations, so I wouldn't have known the difference. Certainly, the producer didn't know the difference. And when I was asked on CNN if I knew the name, I told him this is the name that's been reported to me. I didn't have official confirmation, but I thought that I could rely on a news producer from a national network. And unfortunately, even they were duped. So it's something that we need to be very careful with moving forward. Especially as the breaking news unfolds, got to be very, very careful going down the road. Hey, Congressman, good luck to you. Good luck to all the folks in your district. Our hearts go out to all of them. We will stay in close touch.